So I am up here in Georgia, North Georgia, doing the BDRX again. I believe this is my third time doing it here, but what I want to do on this trip, or in this video, is not so much film the route, as I've done that before, so if you want to see it, go check it out. But I want to talk more or less about the Africa Twin and DCT versus manual, as I've owned both of them. And actually, there's multiple other Africa Twins with us. My buddy is on his 24 base, which is manual. And my other buddy, the one that bought my Adventure Sport, isn't manual at all. So just kind of hearing feedback from them, relaying it to you guys. But again, I want to talk about my experience on why I really love DCT, again, owning all of them. And number one, first and foremost, is I gotta watch out for these slick roads here, a little moisture. But riding through the mountains, or even riding up here through traffic, you know what I mean? DCT is just so nice. It just takes that extra bit of work off you. You just kind of pull it back and you go, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a really nice benefit of it for sure. Let me make sure I'm going the right way here. Seems like my map doesn't want to load with me. But just being able to do what you do and focus on that. Here we go, right onto the dirt. So hey, we might as well talk about some of that here. Let me make sure I got my right modes on, and this is going to be a thing. So let me go, I'm going to get my traction control down to 1, which I can go off. I can put my traction control in off mode, but that's not really a DCT topic. That's just a terrain. And if it gets muddy like it's been through a lot of this track, I have been keeping it off. But when you turn it off, you got to go in and out of the main menu. But focusing back on DCT versus manual, like right here, you got these, like, oh, don't want to hit that one. But you got, just think about this. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but you got these washouts right here, right? And you're bound to hit some of them. Like, there's no avoiding them. And one thing you really got to learn with the DCT is don't lean back. It's like you lean back and then you pull that throttle, and then your day is ruined because you just whiskey throttle the bike and you're off that cliff right there. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing to get used to with DCT, is like you don't have that kill switch. You don't have that clutch to kill the power to the motor. I use my brakes a lot. I'm sure the folks behind me get annoyed by that, but you know, that's what it is. When I press that, it'll downshift more. Now, I still got my paddles over here, and I do utilize those paddles a lot, like a whole lot. Ooh, let me put my the Honda G, what do you call it? G shift mode. That's another thing we'll talk about. And I'm going to bounce around a lot here, obviously, because I'm riding right now. I mean, I'm not just sitting here talking about it. And that's why I thought this would have been better, doing it this way, is actually riding and talking about it, rather than just sitting somewhere talking about it, you know what I mean? So we're kind of live in the action, and I can tell you about this situation and that situation. But this G shift, whatever, G mode, it holds on to the gears a lot longer. So, you know, with DCT, sometimes you'll notice it'll be like, okay, why the heck am I in 6th gear and I'm only going 30 or 40 miles an hour? You know what I mean? So that'll definitely, you'll still get that. You'll still get that occasionally. What I usually do, by the way, is I keep it in, which I'm not right now, I keep it in Sport 1, G mode active, and then, you know, your traction control, whatever you do, right? I got ABS off-road, but again, the biggest thing, even other than that G shift mode, which is very helpful, but it's more or less those washouts and those little whoops you hit. Because if you hit those and once you just pull back, it's, you know, with a DCT, it's everything, right? There's no kill switch right there. So that's the biggest thing to watch out for. Before I get to talking more about like the DCT and the throttle response and how to handle it, I want to touch on, again, why I keep it in sports mode and why I turn that G shift, or whatever you call it, on. As Honda in the manual, it's not very helpful. It doesn't really tell you exactly what it is. Simplistic if you're not, you know, I'm no engine guy by any means. But why I do that is especially stuff like this, when you just kind of got a straightaway, you got loose soil, you got gravel or rocks or sand or whatever it may be, again, it's going to hold on to those gears a lot longer, because you're on and off the throttle here, right? You're not gunning it and going to hit it like when you're on the street, you know what I mean? So I mean, on the street you can go up to Sport 3 and it'll hang on to them plenty fine if you want, you know. But with it set like this, what I notice is it's manageable. Like you still have that response, you still have the power, but it's not excessive, right? Like, I don't want to get on the throttle and just darn near feel like I'm doing a wheelie, you know what I mean? And speaking of a wheelie, you all remember when I tested my previous Africa Twin with the wheelie control? Because I got my traction control at 1 right now and I'm perfectly fine. If it gets sticky, I'll turn traction control completely off. If it gets really sticky, I'll turn wheelie control off. Because if you're in a really sandy or muddy section, that wheelie control will kick in and kind of act like traction control. So again, it's really dependent on your scenario, of course your riding style as well. Anything I ever talk about, whether it be a bike, settings, tires, whatever, it's always dependent on your riding style, of course. But this bike in general, I'm just trying to share a couple tips that I've learned owning multiple Africa Twins, heck, multiple DCT bikes, not even Africa Twins, you know, NC750, Honda Rebels, yada yada yada. But focusing on off-road with the Africa Twin, you still want that response. Like, you don't want to feel like you're slipping, you don't want to feel like you don't have any power going up a hill. It's like a combination of everything, you know what I mean, that you kind of want it really suiting your terrain. And just to be straight, like, I would not recommend someone going with a DCT Africa Twin and going to hit a BDR. Like, go hit some fire roads first, right? Because it is a different animal. And it happened to me before, right? Like, I mean, I hit a divot, I leaned back, and natural reaction, I gripped the bar super tight, and next thing you know, the throttle, it's just, you know, I just whiskey throttle right into the woods, you know? So, like, just going over those boulders, right? Like, you might lean back and it becomes muscle memory. That, like, if you hit a whoop like that, like, I almost sometimes let go of the throttle, you know what I mean? And I use my brake a lot. As I mentioned, I use my brake a lot. I don't slam on it like I'm using a clutch or something, but it's just something. What, these are Ghostbusters? They seriously look like the Ghostbusters there. But anyways, you get used to using the brake lightly, whether it be the front or the rear. And then again, as far as that throttle, you learn to let go of it. You let go of that throttle, and then you feather your brakes. You know, you don't want to slam that rear one because you don't want it just to skid out on you. So if you're thinking about something like this with all these rocks and divots, like right here, like, again, the camera never does this justice, but this is up and down, just making you move around on your bike forward and back and stuff, you know. That's where you kind of learn your body control. Like, you got your throttle, okay, but how are you going to handle that throttle? Don't just whip it back, or again, it's not going to be a fun day at all. So you just kind of manage that as you go through all these rocks, because right now, like, this is the easiest spot to really whiskey throttle. You just lean back and your bike is off and you're just screwed, because next thing you know, you're going 50 miles an hour down the side of the mountain, you know. And that's really a learning curve, I think. I don't think that's really, I can't sit here and talk about it and tell you about my experience and how I do it. Like, I kind of lean forward. I'm not even really gripping that bar over there too much now. I'm kind of just leaning on it. So you kind of learn your technique. But what I can tell you is, number one is, don't try to go too fast. Don't try to ride it like you're on a little dual sport or a manual even, you know, because you pretty much, at the end of the day, you are your own kill switch. You are your own clutch, you know, and it's constant. So you can easily just wing yourself square off the motorcycle very, very easily. And stuff like this is a prime example where something like that could happen. I mean, if you're on even rougher stuff, I mean, even more. You know, and again, I'm not sure the camera does this justice, but it's constant. It is constant. You're on your toes, or the arch of your feet, standing on your pegs. So again, I hope my tips and tricks with a couple settings and a couple maybe things to try. Don't take it like this is what you got to do. Maybe just a couple things that can help you get there, and then you tweak it as you like. Get to know your throttle. That's the best thing I can say on DCT off-road. I'll take it over manual for sure. Manual is easier, right there. If you're curious that, should you get a manual, should you get DCT? One thing you can think of is, yes, manual is easier off-road. Even when you learn DCT, I still think manual is easier off-road. But me personally, I love DCT. I love the technology. I'm not riding this stuff every day. I'm riding a lot of road, so on and so forth. And DCT just suits my riding. I mean, if you're riding specifically this every day, all day, maybe manual. But anyways, I'm just jabbering here. I'm gonna go and shut down, focus on the trail, and complete this route. If this video was helpful, beneficial, you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I hope I catch you on the next adventure. Bye now.